So today I want to talk to you about second guesses, and when you're constantly kind of debating and arguing with yourselves internally, how do you overcome that? So if you are often someone who second guess yourself, check the link in the comments below, or keep on watching, keep on listening to find out more. Welcome back to consecutive day 1688 of a diary of a Runpreneur. And today's topic is all about second guessing yourself and what do you do in these situations that can kind of eat you up inside. But before we get into that, don't forget that this is a fundraiser to save the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultramarathon of run vlogging on consecutive days of distance of a lap of the world, barefoot style. So do give us some support. As the more people we get in front of, more money we raise, more children's lives we save, which is why I do this every single day. So back to the topic at hand and second guesses. So I should probably start by explaining what I mean by second guess. Well, it should be fairly self-explanatory, but it's when you're making a decision about something and you just keep on coming up with alternatives and you really struggle to kind of decide upon what action to take. It's quite common for so many of us. Some people are incredibly decisive, and although that can be an amazing kind of skill in one regard, it can also be dangerous if decisiveness is taken without careful consideration, certainly when it comes to making kind of key decisions in life. And there's so many things kind of goes on in my kind of journey of life, if you like, whether it's my philanthropic work or whether it's my entrepreneurial work or my familial work, so to speak. And I'm always kind of presented with choices, and that's the beauty of life and the journey of life, is that it is just about making choices, or a significant portion of it is about making choices. Whatever you do creates another set of options, and whatever option you take creates another set of options, and so forth. Sometimes you'll make the wrong option or take the wrong option, but it will still present you with usually another load of options where you can try and correct that initial bad option. And you get a lot of people that talk about making choices or decisions, or taking a decision is far better than indecision, because indecision, you're just kind of letting time erode away at your situation. And to be brutally honest, most 99.9% of choices or decisions you make don't usually have as potentially catastrophic outcomes that you may fear. And as long as you're kind of avoiding the main one, which is ultimately final, which is death, and very, very, very few decisions in life will kind of have that type of ultimatum presented with it. I'm talking about day-to-day stuff, but stuff within our lives. But the problem is so many of us often kind of make or amplify the outcome, the potential outcome of a situation, and quite often it's never as big as that. Whether it's good news or bad news, the outcome is never as good as you might want it to be if it's good, and it's never as bad as you might fear it could be if it's bad. And I think that's a really, really important thing to kind of understand here, that trying to remain balanced in your approach, grounded, and don't get too caught up in the excitement, and don't get too bogged down in the fear or of something going wrong, because ultimately life is about these decisions and the ways and means that you get multiple opportunities generally to quite often put a wrong right. Not always, but in many, many situations. And certainly even when you fear that you don't get that option to put a wrong right, you often get options to reduce the impact of that wrong, which again is really important to understand. So I suppose the learnings from my diary today are that second guessing in life is completely normal. We all do it. We always kind of internally argue with ourselves about what to do in whatever situation. And quite often you will always be given, when you've made a choice, you'll usually be given additional options or additional choices off the back of whatever choice you make. And what I mean by that is that you have you usually get the opportunity to make corrective measures, even if you do make bad decisions. So, you know, ultimately making rash decisions is not ideal because you can make more mistakes than often. But if you take your time and make decisions in the right way, you take the time to consider them, you consider all the different outcomes, and you actually understand that whatever decision I make, there'll be a load of other choices and options I get off the back of this, you know, to either correct it or to improve the situation. Making that decision is not always a bad thing. And in fact, the worst thing you can do is be indecisive and not make a decision, because in those situations you can either miss the opportunity, or B, time erodes away at your situation and makes it much worse than it perhaps already was. And that's the thing about time. It seldom can help you. Certainly when you're faced with things that you're not sure on what to do, time is usually a hindrance rather than a help. And indecision can often make a situation worse. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's helpful, but it's helped me, because I've had loads of things, kind of situations over the past few weeks where I've had kind of big decisions to make, and I've not often known what to do, and I'm always fairly rational and take my time to make decisions. But there's just, because the volume of decisions I've had to make of late, I've found myself being a little bit more indecisive than I usually would be. And doing a vlog like this really helps me kind of understand things a little bit better, and makes me feel better about the choices I am actually making. So that's pretty much it for me today. Any questions or comments, please don't forget to give, if you believe in my mission of this fundraising to save the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultra marathon of run vlogging on consecutive days, a distance of a lap of the world barefoot style. Give it some support, so more people we get in front of, more money we raise, more children's lives we save, which is why I do this every single day. Thank you as always. Stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you again tomorrow.